C200, Managing Organizations and Leading People, is done. If you guys are new to the channel, I'm going to Western Governors University and I'm getting my MBA in IT management. And this class is the second class that I passed. It's one of the first term classes that you get at WGU. And WGU has 3 MBAs and this class is a part of all 3 of them. What is this class? Just like it says, it's a leadership and management class. And so the way that it kind of breaks down is as part of the course, you are going to have to do an assessment. It's just a bunch of questions that I'll ask you, hey, would you rather do this or do that in such and such situation? And it's a bunch of questions. But once you finish that, it'll kind of tell you some of your strengths and some of your weaknesses in regards to your leadership style and the way that you do things. And so you're going to learn about that. You're going to learn about all the different types of leadership. Like I knew about transactional leadership and transformational leadership, but there's actually a lot more leadership styles than that. And those are really the big things that I think that you'll kind of cover as you go through this course. Also, if I remember correctly, I'll put in the description below the program guide, but I think this is the class that covers SMART goals. If you don't know SMART, it's an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, or achievable, relevant, and timely. And it's basically just a way for you to kind of set goals and make them something that's actually achievable, and you kind of figure out your way of doing that. It's very simple. It's not difficult to do at all. And I'm actually surprised it's in this class specifically because I would consider it to be something that's not as much like leadership based as something that's just like task based. I set SMART goals when I do a lot of project management stuff, so you can really use it anywhere, but it is covered in this class as well. This class at WGU is a PA, meaning performance assessment. And so in order to pass this class, you must finish 2 tasks. And both of those tasks, to be honest with you, are not that difficult. Again, it's a pretty straightforward class. I think task 1 and task 2 ended up both being about 8 pages for me each. So it's not that difficult, but I'll show you my results anyway. Task 1 took me about maybe 3 hours or so in order to finish. And when I finished it, I turned it in. They actually graded it within 4 hours and they sent it back for revisions because I messed up. The mistake that I made was just pretty much spelling errors. I meant to say one word, but I said a different word instead in multiple places. And so they came back and they was like, hey, you're only supposed to talk about this thing, but you talked about this thing and this thing, so it's wrong. And I went back and looked at my paper. I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I did that and then I turned it in. And then when I turned it in, they graded it, I think, within an hour and I had passed. So it was a very quick revision. It wasn't difficult to fix. And luckily they sent it back and passed it very quickly too. The second task was pretty straightforward too. It took me about the same amount of time, about 3 hours. And then when I turned it in, surprisingly, it took them about 3 hours to grade it and send it back to me. And that passed as well. This is another class where I don't really have a lot of tips for you just because it's a very, very straightforward class. But if you need a little bit of assistance, if you don't quite understand something as you're going through the task that you have to do, if you click on course tips, they actually put it in the right place. So click on course tips, expand that window, and then go to the very bottom. You should see 2 task videos where a course instructor will actually spend a little bit of time telling you more information about each of the tasks that are required and the little, sections within them. Again, I didn't particularly use this for this particular class. I literally just, once I saw what the requirements were, I started typing. I knew enough information to just get the thing done, but it's a good resource if you need help. With all of that being said, what's next? Well, it gets a little interesting here because the next video that you'll get from me is the next class that I passed, which is actually C212 marketing, which will be weird to some of you because the first 3 classes that you get are pretty much always the same. And marketing is not one of those first 3 classes. Yet at this point, I had already finished 2, but I didn't finish the 3rd class. What happened is my program mentor, she's just really cool. And she saw that I finally had started making progress and getting stuff done. And she was like, you want me to just go ahead and unlock the next class, even though I hadn't finished the other one? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And so she unlocked marketing, which is what I asked her to unlock. And I mean, I just literally sat down for a weekend and I did it, but we'll talk about the marketing class a little bit later. Just know that next class that I did, so the next class that you'll get a video for, is C212 marketing. As far as what class I'm actually working on, I'm still working on C207 data-driven decision making. I kind of took last week to do other things. I wasn't feeling too hot, and with the season change, I'm sure you can hear I'm all stuffed up again. I'll deal with that. But yeah, that's where I am right now. So those are all the videos. That's all the information that I have. So until my next video, you guys take care.